Okay, well, welcome back. Something, as you can see, has changed. Now, things moved quite quickly. I've got footage that kind of covers a lot of what's happened to get from where we last were and where we are now, but you know, you start trying to create this stuff, and as you can imagine, it all gets a bit hectic as you're going along. So let me throw in firstly, this is me getting the boat alongside the dock, coming in here to Portland Yacht Services. It went pretty well. I came in at slack water. I came in, still had light. There was nobody on the dock to help me. They'd all gone home. We'd already agreed that. I knew that. I knew what the situation was. I had the satellite look down imagery from Google. I had everything on the chart. So I was feeling pretty happy with what was happening. The main thing for me was, as I came alongside, you see, I started to recognize that maybe I should have tied off the lines on the boat rather than putting them on the winches, which is more the way you do it with crew. So a bit of a kind of brain fart from me there, but it all went well because, of course, the rope just got wrapped around the winches and wouldn't pull through. But that went very well. And then that brings me back to this morning, and the boat came out about 24 hours ago. And as always with this kind of boat, when you are when you're out on the water, you've got to have full respect for the process of getting up and down onto the boat. It does help if you spend a lot of time getting on and off the dinghy on the mooring. So don't feel too nervous about climbing up and down the back of the boat, but it was a bit of a process getting her out, because she's got such slim lines underwater. Let me just find her right. You have to be careful with the sun here, else it'll be terrible shadow. Because so little of her is in the water, it's probably only literally like 3 feet from the water line to the underside of the canoe body, that the straps on the travel lift over here, this is a 300-ton travel lift, and they tried to lift her out. I think that's where I was getting a bit crazy with my media content, that I was like filming this and filming that. It was obvious to me what was going to happen, because I've worked with these kind of boats exclusively so many times, and I've done this so many times. But you can only throw your opinion in the mix and then let people do their job. So they lifted her, they recognized, okay, this is the situation. We took it to our advantage actually and removed some debris off the propeller, which was wrapped around here. There was a big Dyneema line. I don't know where that came from. Wrapped around the propeller. We got that off, and then back into the water, and they put the smaller travel lift straps onto this crane, and then she was able to be hauled out. So once out, we then got into a next dilemma, which was that they have two kinds of stands here, two heights of stands. The first height, and this is Spirit, we're going to be talking about her, we're going to be working on her while we're here as well. The first stand they've got is for like giant things that get pulled out, 300-ton things. Just to give you an idea of how tall these stands are. Here we go. I come up to halfway between the 4th and 5th rung. So they're like 14-foot stands, 16-foot stands, something like that. If I'd have been on those, they'd have had to block underneath the keel, and then I'd be on those stands. You'd never get to the underside of the hull. It'd be the end of the world trying to get up and like do the waterline or something like that. So they wanted to put me and got me onto these stands, but only by digging a hole in here. And there's very fun footage. I'll show you some now of the guys putting the little digger to work to get this hole excavated through this very hard gravel that these yards have to be made from, so monsters like that can drive around. So here's our boat now. How are we for light? Yeah, we're pretty good there. So we can see now this giant 8-foot rudder. You see we've got some damage up here. We've just been assessing, so we've got to make a convincing repair on that. Propeller, we know there's an issue with the propeller. We're getting a new propeller as soon as the budget allows for it. At the moment, that is a fixed pitch maxi prop. It's like a min prop. It does the minimum amount of things. It just goes round. We'll fix that later on, but we need to get a new anode on there. We need to get some cleaning done to the prop, because it's got some fouling on it. And then over here, we can see our beautiful far keel. You know, there's a sort of style now, everything has to be a T-bulb. That's the only way of doing it. In terms of like an ocean-going vessel, I do not want a T-bulb on the bottom of things. I have had enough T-bulbs on things to know that they just eat fishing nets. Any kind of line in the water, anything is stuck on there. So this is the ultimate keel shape for me, and looking beautiful. Have a look at the keel. Can anybody recognize what this is made from? Here we go. Can I catch the light on it there? Can you see that coppery kind of burnished color to it? Here we've got some surface corrosion. Obviously, look at this. This is anti-foul, that someone's just put the anti-foul directly onto the metal, so that's never going to work. In other areas, we see something black here, and this is maybe something along the lines of Interprotect. This keel is made of Weldox, which is like a very, very, very strong metal that's perfect for hanging 12 tons off the bottom when it's only 4 or 5 inches in thickness and what, like, I know, 32 inches from front to back, maybe not even that. So we can see here now where it's plated into the bottom of the boat, and we know there's that massive aluminum frame inside with giant 1-inch Aquamet 22 bolts going through it, holding all this lot on. So the first news is it's in great condition. I'm very, very sensitive to the condition on keels. I used to be like, it's just a piece of metal hanging under the boat. And then I had the situation with Challenger where she got crevice corrosion down here in this, it was actually just above this kind of area. Maybe I've got some pictures here that I can throw in to just show this a little bit more clearly, but we found there was a massive kind of like blowout of metal in the side of the keel, and the thought in the end was that it was through having stray electricity in the marina coming in through the keel and going out through our ground system on the shore power side. And that only came because the fact that at the same season, the same year, Donnybrook, another race boat, lost its keel bulb, and it had been sitting just a couple berths down from us in the same marina. So once you have that happen, you realize the protective coatings on things and exactly how your ground system's made up and all that stuff does make a big difference. You see these massive notches in the front here? Luckily, most of that is fairing. That's not me. I've touched this thing on the bottom once, but it was on the bottom. I haven't run it into anything. That was like that when we first got the boat. I can see the images of that on the survey that I got from the French Navy before we bought this boat, but checking it out, it's just the fairing on the front. The front of the keel is not that shape, so that's just going to get all faired back in. And then we've got to get 5200s and put it around the bead of the keel there. We're going to see if we can tension the keel bolts before we leave. I've just been assessing. Basically, the keel bolts go into the galley, and I need to know how far they go to know if I need to take the mast step out the bottom of the mast area, but out of the where it's bolted onto the frame. It's just every single one of these things adds up, right? So we can see, what else can we see here? These are little inspection windows. We've got one on this side, one on the other side, one down by the propeller, and I think there's one by the rudder on this boat as well. They give a race crew the ability to like identify if they've got something wrapped around the propeller, or yeah, there's one on the rudder, I thought so. There's one there and one there, and then this little canard there. Like, I don't know the answer to this, and I've seen it on a few boats. I could research this, but what is that for? Can someone tell me down in the comments? That tiny little, oh, here we go, look, there's a ladder here. Check out this yak in repair here, find out what's going on. But yeah, what's this guy for? Look at that tiny little angled blade ahead of the rudder, obviously intended to balance out some particular hydrodynamic effect that I don't know anything about. So yeah, and our propeller looking pretty worn there. So we got things to do, but it's like focusing on the problem 1% and ignoring the other 99% that's fine. All right, so the big thing I want to have a look at now, with your assistance, this is happening real time. I'm getting the anti-foul. I'm going to recolor the stripes on the boat. I know some people like keep them. I just can't. It might look orange because these cameras like make everything look super vivid, but the bottom one's almost gone brown. It's not a good look. It's like the inside of your dad's Triumph Stag in 1982. Okay, so I'm thinking black anti-foul, and then like a grey, a darker grey for this thick line here. It's called steel grey or Atlantic grey, I think it's now called, from Top Bright Sides. Bright Sides has become Top Black. So the company is Axe and Bell. They used to sell Bright Sides, and Bright Sides is now Top Black, and all the color names have changed, but all the colors are the same, and the chemistry is the same. Super useful. Okay, so steel grey here, and then red. There's only one red available. It's quite tomato-ish for the line above. It's not the most inspired paint scheme, but it'll look pretty good with red draft stripes in the main, white letters on the main, and a black mainsail. That's what I'm thinking. So and then a white stick. You know, we've got some good things going on. So that's my day today. So yeah, I hope that brings everything together. You can see where we're up to. It's always weird trying to bridge these parts of the story. I want you to be kind of involved in the whole thing, but I also did of the last 3 dark bits, I've been awake for 2 of them. Yep. So I've now had a good sleep, 12-hour sleep, and I'm ready to work and sand and do what I need to do. So paint off the keel, interprotect on the keel, seal up around the keel, look at the repair on the rudder, tidy up the prop and everything, get the anti-foul on, hang on, which way are we going? Yeah, we're going to tape down, anti-foul on, tape off, tape on, yeah, okay, we got it. And then a grey line and a red line and back in the water. Everything on the hull we can deal with when the boat's in the water. And then we need to get the name changed on the back up there. It still says the original hull name, Weddell. I'm going to go with Osprey. I'm pretty happy with that. And the fact that there are Ospreys all around this area sitting on the building all the time, kind of peeping and crying at me, which is what it's like being on the mooring. If I did have any doubts about the name of it, I've got none now. So we're going to get Osprey on the back, and going to have ourselves a pretty good looking boat within a week. If you're enjoying all this content and you want to help support what's going on, please consider going down and clicking for a YouTube membership where there's early access to things and some longer videos, and I'm going to be kind of working more of that into each week's production so that there are tangible benefits there. But the benefits are we can keep making these videos and keep moving the project forward. Alternatively, over to Patreon, and there's more content there and blogs and insights from me, and support what's going on. We're here already. Obviously we're on our way to something good, so be part of it. I'll speak to you soon. Cheers.